Melissa, over to you.
Thank you, Christy. There's probably nothing that could ensure that I say the same thing I said before as you saying that worked well. And so I'm undoubtedly going to say something completely different this time. So welcome, everyone. I am really glad that you're here and that you took some time out of your evening to be here tonight and to actually demonstrate by your presence and your participation how important monthly meetings are to you. And I hope we'll have a really good evening of sharing and learning from each other. I don't know all of you, so I'd like to introduce myself a little bit more. As Christy said, I'm Melissa Rycroft. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm speaking to you from the ancestral lands of the Susquehannock. I am in Muncie, Pennsylvania, and if you don't know where that is, that's okay. I am in Upper Susquehanna Quarter. And I do a couple of other things as well. One of them is that I'm assistant clerk of USQ, and I think they're actually meeting right now without me. So I'm kind of hurt by that, but I can't make all the meetings all the time. And Upper Susquehanna Quarter is actually my faith community. So my worship since the beginning of the pandemic, my weekly worship has been with USQ. We've had a Zoom meeting every first day, and you're welcome to attend. We get together every Sunday at 11 and have worship together. And that's been a really important part for me, of making it through the pandemic, but also for all of us. Interestingly, I have found the last couple of years has brought me far closer to many of the people who are across my quarter than I have ever been previously. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about USQ. Christy mentioned it's far away. Well, it is. And we're also far from each other. It is about 200 miles from the meeting that's the most to the west to the meeting that's the most to the east. It's 200 miles across Upper Susquehanna Quarter. We have the meeting that is northernmost in the yearly meeting, and the meeting that's westernmost in the yearly meeting are both in USQ. And we also have, I think, a unique meeting that is actually has some members who are members of Philadelphia yearly meeting and some who are members of Baltimore yearly meeting is in USQ. So we get together far more than you might expect. So you just heard me say it's 200 miles across, but we look for any opportunities to be together, to spend time together, to do activities. We're really big on camping. We love to get together and go camping, and we actually just did that at the beginning of this month. We gathered together for our fall family gathering. We assembled at a camp outside of Hughesville, Pennsylvania, that's above 2,000 feet in elevation. Gets a little bit colder there earlier. And we spent a weekend camping. We had a wide variety of workshops on many different subjects, everything from eldership and storytelling, things that we had nature hikes. And I've just got to, just for a moment, let you see my really awesome background, which is one of our workshops was a project where we made these great shirts and we ice dyed them. It was my first time ice dyeing. And of course, there was great food. There was meeting for business, meeting for worship, and a heck of a lot of fellowship. So why do we get together and what does it mean to us? Well, we are very spread out and many of our meetings are small and some of our meetings are struggling and some of our meetings are thriving. But we have found that our quarter is actually a really good source of connection and support for meetings with whatever they might be struggling with or whatever they might be achieving. So we spend a lot of time at the quarter level actually being resources for each other. And I know that you may come from a meeting that's healthy and thriving and you have everything you need within your monthly meeting. But I encourage you to think about other meetings you're aware of the meetings that are close to you, and what they might be experiencing. When you think about your quarter, your monthly meeting, the meetings around you, it might help to think about which meetings are actually doing amazingly well. They've got a thriving first day school, great programming. There's just so much going on there. They have a great web presence. And then you think about the meetings that maybe aren't doing quite as well. And what are the ways that those meetings need support? Who are they? How could someone from your meeting or your meeting itself actually outreach to them to say, we just want to check in. We just want to say, how are you doing? What do you need? One of the things that we found here in Upper Susquehanna Quarter is that we need to be in communication with each other, or we don't know. It's never safe to assume and say, well, we haven't heard anything from that meeting, so they must be great. It's really important for us to actually spend that time. We haven't had the opportunity to practice intervisitation in person that much, but it is still good to be doing outreach and communication and just checking in to say, how are things in your meeting? What support do you need? What are you struggling with? What's going really well? We do this for each other in USQ because we need to. Our westernmost meeting and smallest is Huntington. They have 3 members. And here's the amazing thing about those 3 folks from Huntington. Whenever there's an activity happening anywhere in the quarter, you can be pretty much assured that 2 of them will show up. And they will travel those 200 miles, hopefully not always 200 miles, but they'll travel those miles to spend time in worship and fellowship with people from other monthly meetings. If you come from a small meeting, as I do, you know that sometimes it gets really hard to be in worship week after week, listening to the same 4 people or looking at the same 4 people and wondering if there's anything else out there. Well, there is. And I think that other meetings can help fill that gap and can also, I think, be a really valuable resource. And so if you're waiting for the invitation, if you're waiting for someone to say, hey, check in on each other, I hope that you hear that tonight from me. If you open up a dialogue with folks from other monthly meetings around you, if you participate in their activities, if you're planning things that happen at the quarterly meeting level, I think it's a really good way to get to know people, but also it's a good way for us all to feel so much more connected to each other and to the yearly meeting. So tonight is really, I hope, a great opportunity for us to tell those stories, because we have them. We have stories, you may have heard them, but hopefully as we're going through this evening, you're thinking about things that you would like to share of your successes, of your challenges, of your struggles, of things that you're really proud of. What's going on in your monthly meeting? What do you need from each other? What can you offer to each other? And I hope that this evening is an opportunity to sort of breathe a little bit of life into these relationships so that when you go back to your monthly meeting, you're carrying some of that energy with you into the work that you do there. So I'm really glad you're here. And I'm so glad to spend this time with you. I'm really excited about the conversation tonight. And I just want to thank you for spending your time here this evening. It's a wonderful thing to see so many of you here and to participate in this dialogue. So thank you, friends.